Welcome to the St Ambrose College Year 9 Options Evening. This is just a brief review as to the two different options that you can choose for science progressing into Year 10 and Year 11 for your GCSEs. The first possible option is selecting the three separate sciences. We follow the AQA scheme of work for all three, biology, chemistry and physics, and below you'll see the links to the AQA scheme of work for biology, chemistry and physics and their specific course codes on the AQA website, which will give you a much greater detailed view of the topics that are covered on those three separate GCSE science subjects. The GCSE biology course, the qualification is linear, and that means all students sit their exams at the end of Year 11. And there are 8 main topics in the biology specification: cell biology, organisation, infection and response, bioenergetics, homeostasis and response, inheritance, variation and evolution, ecology and key ideas. And there are 10 required practical activities that are compulsory, that will be done throughout the 2 years of the course. The number of lessons will be 4 or 5 lessons per fortnight. If it is 4 in Year 10, it will be 5 in Year 11 and vice versa. And the assessment criteria at the end of the 2-year course is Paper 1 will assess topics 1 to 4 with a 1 hour 45-minute written examination worth 100 marks and 50% of the GCSE course. And Paper 2 is topics 5 to 7 and again 1 hour 45 minutes, 100 marks and 50% of the GCSE course. Both papers will consist of multiple choice, structured, closed short answer and open response questions. The GCSE chemistry course, again the subject content, there are 10 key topics in the specification: atomic structure and the periodic table, bonding structure and the properties of matter, quantitative chemistry, chemical changes, energy changes, the rate and extent of chemical change, organic chemistry, chemical analysis, chemistry of the atmosphere and using resources. And in chemistry there are 8 compulsory required practical activities that will take place throughout the course. Just like biology, the number of lessons per fortnight will be 4 or 5, with it alternating between Year 10 and 11. Again, the assessments are 2 papers, each being 1 hour 45 minutes, worth 100 marks and 50% of the GCSE course. And the questions could be multiple choice, structured, closed short answer and open response questions. Paper 1 being topics 1 to 5, Paper 2 being topics 6 to 10. The GCSE physics course, again, is linear and is examined at the end of Year 11, and there are 8 main topics within the specification: energy, electricity, particle model of matter, atomic structure, forces, waves, magnetism and electromagnetism and space physics. And again, it's assessed with 2 1 hour 45-minute papers, each worth 100 marks at the end of Year 11, and each being worth 50% of the GCSE. And both papers will consist of multiple choice, structured, closed short answer and open response questions. Paper 1 being topics 1 to 4 and Paper 2 being topics 5 to 8. But there is the opportunity for some questions in Paper 2 to draw on an understanding of some of the topics from Paper 1. Again, there are 4 or 5 lessons per fortnight. If they get 4 in Year 10, they will get 5 in Year 11. And there are 10 required practical activities that are compulsory that will be taking place over the 2 years of the course. The second option is GCSE Combined Science Trilogy. Again, we run the AQA course and there is a link there to the website and the full specification of the GCSE Combined Science Trilogy course that students will undertake. This time there are 24 key topics from biology, chemistry and physics, and there are 21 required practical activities that will be undertaken throughout the 2 years of the course. The students will receive 9 lessons per fortnight. They will get 3 lessons in each of the 3 different disciplines with 3 different teachers. The assessments for Trilogy take place on exactly the same days in the GCSE calendar as the 3 separate sciences, and there will be 6 papers in total, 2 biology, 2 chemistry and 2 physics. The only difference being is that the length of the papers are all 1 hour 15 minutes and they are worth 70 marks, and each paper is worth an equal 1/6 of the overall GCSE award. The questions again will be multiple choice, structured, closed short answer and open responses. The grades that you get from GCSE Combined Science Trilogy, you will get 2 GCSE grades, and these grades can be slightly different. You won't necessarily get a 99, a 88, a 77. You can get a 7/6 or a 6/7, and the 7/6 implies you are at the top end of a level 6 / bottom end of a level 7. A 7/7 is the middle of a level 7, and an 8/7 is the top end of a 7, lower end of an 8. So you get 2 GCSE grades for GCSE Trilogy, and the exam questions are slightly more accessible compared to the separate science questions, and the grade boundaries tend to be slightly lower. These are the required practical skills for biology, chemistry and physics, and also apply to GCSE Combined Science Trilogy. It is only the assessment technique 8 for biology, chemistry and physics that is not required on the Trilogy course, but all of the rest of those skills will be tested and will be focused on in both the compulsory practicals, and they may well be asked in written questions in the written papers at the end of the 2 years. These are the mathematical requirements for biology on the left, chemistry in the middle and physics at the end, and these are also the mathematical requirements for the GCSE Combined Science Trilogy. The ability to handle data, use graphs, draw graphs and interpret graphs are crucial in all 3 sciences and the GCSE Combined Trilogy Award. Whichever option your son selects for his GCSE Science, the support and resources are going to be similar. All students, regardless of which option or which route they pick, will have access to the online textbooks via Caboodle, and they would be encouraged to use those to support their learning in class and to practice further questions. Each student will have a specialist biology, chemistry and physics teacher for both separate science and the Trilogy route. So in year 10, all pupils will have 3 different science teachers. For the compulsory practicals, the required practical skills, we have AQA practical books specially designed for either the separate sciences or the Trilogy course to help students understand how to interpret the observations they've seen and to give them examples of questions that may well appear on written papers at the end of year 11. As well as Caboodle, students can easily access BBC GCSE Bite Size or Seneca Learning to help their independent study, and we also have student access to physics review, chemistry review and biological life sciences review, which they can look at and read articles and do further reading around the topics they're currently doing if they wish to further research any scientific topics at all. Finally, what are some of the considerations you should take into account before selecting which route you're going to go through for your GCSE science? First and foremost, do you enjoy the science subjects? Do you enjoy the learning? Do you enjoy the lessons? And do you enjoy the practical aspects? Do you enjoy the planning, carrying out and obtaining data, and then the analysis and evaluation of that data to arrive at accurate conclusions? Do you enjoy discovering and understanding and explaining why certain everyday events occur, and looking at the world around us and seeing the science in everything? Are you also thinking of further study of any of the sciences, either to A level or beyond? A lot of the skills that you pick up at GCSE science, such as planning, analysis, evaluation, are very useful in many further careers. Even if you do pick the trilogy, that does not rule you out of carrying on to any of the three sciences for A level. There may well be a little bit of extra work required over the summer on a couple of topics, but if you get high grades, you can still proceed into A level sciences. You will get 3 GCSE grades, 1 for each of the 3 separate sciences, and 2 GCSE grades for trilogy. Those grades will either be 2 identical grades or 2 grades that are one number apart. So for example, if you got a 7-7 in trilogy, that's the middle of a level 7. An 8-7 is the top end of a 7, bottom end of an 8. Or a 6-7, the bottom end of a 7, the top end of a 6. You may well decide that there are many other options that you want to take for GCSE and you don't want to limit your choices at the moment, so that might be a reason for going via the trilogy route. But I hope this presentation has been useful. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to either contact any of your son's 3 science teachers in Year 9 at the moment, or contact myself, Mr. Elwell, who's Head of Science at St Ambrose, at the email address at the bottom of this slide. Thank you very much for listening, and take care, and I hope to see you all soon.